Summer storms are bringing flashes of light across the country. One person captured this lightning from a plane in Florida. For those on the ground, the dangers aren't as uncommon as you might think. First Alert meteorologist Ben Beddoe says more on how you can stay safe during storms as part of National Lightning Awareness Week.
Lightning is a pretty common thing we see in the summertime. This, of course, is when most people are spending time outside. Last year, there were 14 deaths in the U.S. from lightning strikes, including one in Kentucky in Bath County. Alex Vorst, a meteorologist from the National Weather Service in Jackson, says you should always have a plan in place.
Biggest thing is to have a plan in place. Even if thunderstorms are not in the forecast, you still want to have a plan in place. Pop-up thunderstorms do happen. Even on the hot, humid summer days, you do get a chance for thunderstorms. So have a plan in place before you go out and hike, before you play golf, go to the beach, go to the lake.
Vorst says finding some sort of indoor shelter or your vehicle can be good places to go once you hear thunder. But what if I don't have that option?
Make yourself the smallest object around. Potentially maybe laying on the ground or laying in a low-lying area. That's not flooded, of course, but just making yourself as little as possible is the best way to do that, because lightning is going to find the tallest object. That's why trees, power lines, power poles are the most common things that do get hit by lightning.
It's also important to remember that even when the main storm has passed, you should wait before resuming outdoor activities.
You would want to wait about a half hour after the last rumble of thunder. Believe it or not, a lot of the lightning fatalities and injuries do actually happen once the main threat of thunderstorms has passed.
From Jackson, I'm Ben Beddoes, WKYT.
And Vorst also says lightning can strike outside of a thunderstorm, so it doesn't have to be raining for lightning to strike. Stay weather aware always with the WKYT First Alert weather app. You can scan the QR code on your screen and get the forecast and see the latest conditions anytime. It is free to download.